Hey ratbags, it's Jade. Welcome to 1.3 update for Grounded, the Make It and Break It update. A completely brand new way to play Grounded. Custom maps, parkour maps, adventure maps, RPG maps, anything you can think of practically you can now build in Grounded. It's so much more than I originally thought this update would be, and it's got so much nuance, complicated items, and just varied ways that you can keep playing Grounded pretty much infinitely. The update is going to be in PTB for a couple of weeks nearly until it arrives on the 13th of November for absolutely everyone. I've got so many guides, I'm going to be working on so many maps, so come and join my Discord to get first exclusive look at these and play them before anyone else. What you're seeing now is a quick only down map that I made last night in about 3 hours. With some really basic stuff going on. There's going to be so many more creators showing really cool brand new stuff that they've been working on. So we're lucky enough to have been given a chance to preview this. So thanks a lot Obsidian for giving us that opportunity. And here we go. We're going to go through absolutely everything explained in terms of what the Make It and Break It update is, with all the new panels showing all the new items you can utilize and generally what to expect. Please leave a like if you find it useful. Check out the rest of the content I've got on this update already live as well at the same time as this video, and let's go. So new Playgrounds mode is split from the single player. You can see it underneath, continue, create new, and downloads. The downloads will be ones that you've downloaded. At the moment there isn't a store to browse maps, it's all about the codes that you get. Not 100% sure if they're going to introduce anything like that, but otherwise it's like Fortnite, you share a code of your map and players can go ahead and download it. Sadly, any creative modes you've already made, they will not be able to be transferred to this one. So if you've already built like an amazing arena and you're thinking you could do some really cool stuff to it, you will have to rebuild it again. And of course, this doesn't affect story mode. 99% of the stuff you see in Playgrounds mode won't be there in the actual full story mode. So we've got the traditional backyard, everything there, all the dungeons, all the items, and the brand new smaller blank canvas yard. We click view mode settings, you can choose to have a whole bunch of stuff turned on or off just like in normal creative mode. And this is what the world settings will be when your friends want to go ahead and play any of these. So you're effectively making the settings for your map that you're creating yourself. And if you want to play your own map, you can choose to play it as a playground map ready to go or in design mode where you can make adjustments still. I'm going to save most of these settings for the end of the video so we can get right into the really new stuff. But quests obviously aren't active, but this has just changed recently. You can now choose whether all recipes are unlocked or all recipes are free when you're designing your map. So obviously players can't necessarily cheat. And you can see crafting and building and all that stuff can be turned on or off. It is still just a 4-player situation at the moment. Doesn't look like that's going to change either. It's one slight letdown with all of this playground mode, that you can't have more players to experience it. You've got 2 different modes when creating a playground. Holding the start button will turn into the play mode. Hold it again and you're back in design mode. If you press down on a D-pad, you've got all sorts of options to change your camera just like normal, but all these brand new snapping options. And there's a redo and undo button now, so if anything goes wrong, you can actually take it back. And then you just got the regular photo mode. You can do all of this with the handy nat as well. I'm going to use this opportunity to take a look at the sandbox itself, and it's just amazing. The house is completely gone. There are some elements of terrain to make it a little bit more interesting. Some crevices, and obviously we're in a pretty dry zone right here. And there's a selection of these laboratories, but I'm pretty sure you may be able to spawn these in. We've got anthills, a good amount of water, lots of swamp area. So super interesting to see all of this. Basically almost like a blank canvas. You can even go ahead and relocate individual pieces of grass and items you find in a world. We saw that from the teaser trailer, and it literally works exactly like that, except some of these larger rocks. So this will work exactly the same way if you choose not to have a blank canvas, but you load up the yard like normal in Playgrounds mode. You'll be able to move everything over. So let's go into design objects, pressing up on the D-pad. And just look how many different options there are. This is the gizmos and gadgets. Everything from buttons, switches, lots of brand new items that you can utilize, as well as old returning ones that we've seen in boss fights like the laser pillar, a scoreboard, and there's even power-ups for you to utilize. Some of this is going to be pretty big brain stuff. I'm not going to lie, I have a hard time grasping some of this, but it's going to be really cool to play everyone else's maps, and eventually maybe I can get good and make my own. But super bounce pads, choose it, then go ahead and just place it. There's a whole bunch of different options to snap to the ground, and you can even rotate a lot of this stuff as well to get the right angles, pressing the Y button and changing all sorts. Woo! So we've got a laser here, and obviously if I go into play mode, nothing's really going to happen to it. That's because we need to turn it on. So go back into design mode, and we're going to flick a switch. Just place it there, close. And this is where things get a little bit more complicated and where everyone's going to spend a lot of time watching guides, tutorials. You've got to create a link between obviously your on off switches, buttons, levers or whatever to whatever it is that you want to power up. When it's able to connect, you can see it will flash up white instead of grey, and now we've connected this. You press LB to remove your links, and if you want to copy anything, you can also do that by clicking in the right stick. So let's do that, and let's turn this on. Whoa! Is that not crazy? Like I've seen creative mode in so many other games. Minecraft, of course, with adventure maps and more. Oof, oof, it's not turning off though. Maybe it's just got to run out. And also we've got things like Mario Maker as well. But to have this in Grounded and the sheer amount of options, it's way above and beyond anything I thought they would ever do. I never thought Grounded really had the capabilities to be such a creative game. Back in the day they spoke about adding powered buildings and stuff. Never really truly understood what that was. But according to the devs, I do believe I'm okay to say this, all of this playground mode pretty much was only something they thought about after 1.0. Maybe they saw a bunch of feedback from people saying they wanted more creative options. I for years have been saying we needed more mini games and ways to create worlds. I remember doing polls on it, asking people what they wanted versus things like tames, a brand new map, or more DLC sort of characters or dungeons, and literally mini games became last. But clearly there are a lot more people that did want to see this, or the devs just felt it was a good addition, something that was missing. It's not going to be for everyone. I understand some survival fans might be a little bit down, there's not as much new content in this update. But remember, they're going to be supporting Grounded for a long time. I'm sure that the next big update will be more survival focused. There are a ton of changes in survival mode, lots of quality life options and lots of ways that really might change the way Grounded is played, but that's for another video. So that is just one page. If we actually move over, we can now see the weapons, tools and equipment. You can spawn it all in, including the brand new basketballs. Is this not cool? It's about time. We've had a basketball net for about 20 years. And now we can actually play basketball. In this mode you can obviously see we've got all the trinkets that you can now spawn in and mess around with, including something maybe new that might be in survival mode, Nifty Needle, but I'll have to double check with some of this stuff. Sturdy Shell looks like it's pretty new, and Astonishing Acid as well. In fact there's a whole bunch of new ones here, Giddy Goop and Stoppable Capacitator. And the fireworks that I leaked a good while ago, always thinking it would be part of some event. When you place something down like this, you can see it pretty much stays there. So when you go back into play mode, you can then go ahead and nab them. And there we go. The Roman candle is now finally here properly. We've got consumables. Obviously these have had a major change. There's a cooldown now when you use them in survival mode, but they do give you more health and pretty much all the general foods. So you want to spawn natural resources in and have them in the yard, we obviously can do that. So if you want players to be able to craft certain items and control exactly how much is there, we might be able to build some really cunning floor is lava areas, not getting too close to the sizzle, otherwise you will burn. And of course, you've got all the creature drops that you can spawn in as well, all the craftable items as well, and lots of different keys to set up adventure or search and find puzzles. Then after that we've got the base building mechanics with the brand new half walls and the quarter walls. It's pretty much all the other build stuff you've come to know. Then we've got storage and utilities. These can all have different links applied to them now. So you would get the idea that a chest might only be able to be opened when you've actually pressed a button or found something. So if we go to Gizmos and pull a lever there, then create a link and move it to the chest. Can't get into the chest at the moment. Pull the switch, and now I can. Lots of options there. Some other cool new features is you can now place things like zipline anchors, the more metal ones, wall mounted basketball hoops, the firework launcher for that firework that we had, and a ton of the stuff that you find in laboratories, creating your own proper dungeons. How freaking cool is that? There's a whole host of new items as well, like targets to shoot, and again I'm hoping that some of this stuff is in survival. I will do a separate video taking a look at all the new stuff that has been added. So then we've got decor items, all the stuff to make your base look nice, new mantis hanging lantern, lots of decoration and furniture items of course. You'll notice there's little yellow icons, it's got the link symbol, that pretty much means stuff can be interacted with it to either turn it on, off or change. A wasp ceiling fan, pupa leather ottoman, and a was queen hammock. I'm hoping these don't unlock automatically, maybe we have to go and fight the bosses again. Nice little mantis fountain. Why not? So effectively, anything like this, you can have it turn on or off, or if they do poses, then you can change how they look once they've had a switch. Just remember, you've got to go from the switch first to the item. So we can put a mant statue here, we can then create a link. So with all these connection lines, you can go ahead and customize them. Press LB, you can choose what the actual switch or that connection does when it's pressed. Again, this is where it gets a bit more complicated, but when the switch is pressed on, I can choose to have the chest either unlock, lock, toggle lock or none. And likewise, you can press RB to have the behavior, what happens when you switch it off. With this man statue, you can see the line's a little bit different color. We can basically make sure that when we press the switch, it can be customized and can choose a brand new pose. And then when we switch it off, it can go back to the factory defaults. So now when I press this button, he should change his pose. And there we go. Can't wait to see Mother Chudders design a scary house or museum again. That'd be really cool to see some of the changes you could do with this. Then we've got all the mounted trophies as normal, all the stuffed bugs. And now, finally, we can spawn in as many of the creatures as you want. Apparently there aren't too many limits with this at the moment. Things might start actually getting a bit scary or hairy if you're playing on an Xbox One. But you can go ahead and spawn in even the koi fish now, variations of orcs, and plenty of archars. And as you can see in play mode, they'll act just like they normally do. So be careful about how and when you place these creatures, and maybe make sure that you have changed the game settings so you don't die while you're just building and making your world. When you go back to design mode, all the creatures will return to their natural places that you spawned them in. So now we've got large harvestables, so you can place all sorts of grass, berries, flowers, pretty much everything in the grounded backyard. Nails, rocks, harvestables that you have to get yourself, and of course a huge amount of food. Everything from widow sacks as well. And then when you go to man-made props, this is where I can't wait to see what people build. Have your own nation of army men, find it out. I'm pretty sure some really smart person is going to hook up a firework launcher maybe to some of these, making it seem like they're shooting at each other. Pretty much all the backyard items, including piping. It's honestly blowing my mind how much they've put into this. Huge amount of stuff from the laboratories again. I'll bet this stuff obviously you can't link or make use out of, but it would be cool if there was a way to add filters in the future to things like cameras. Crazy, crazy stuff. And then finally, natural props. Nana skins, orange peels, haze fungus. Build yourself a sky island. Rocks, a ton of grass, flowers, leaves. Make your own mini tree, although it's mostly roots. You get the idea. There is just so much more to go through, but it all needs to be done in separate videos. But you can create special zones where things will only happen in that zone. Enemies might spawn, despawn, you might get given equipment. If you've got proper creature spawners, that'll actually spawn as part of your adventure. You can then go ahead and change the creature that you want to spawn, and then again hook it up with some sort of switch. And you'll notice that some of this stuff is invisible. And there you go. Just spawned in a wasp, and you can make another trigger that will probably despawn it, or create a zone that when you step into it you're going to be safe as it will despawn the enemies. They're brand new teleporters. Sadly, this won't be coming to the survival mode. I really hope they change their mind about it. I know we've got zip lines, but it'd be really cool if we could have this. Make it super expensive in raw science maybe, like 5,000 raw science for each one, and make it maybe a final endgame unlock item. But I think this needs to happen. You can choose where these teleport to, so obviously you've got a whole bunch, so effectively you could have as many as these on your map, taking your players to all different dungeons instead of having to build long complicated hallways. There's music and effects spawners as well. The equipment equipper, time of day, you get the idea. I'm going to go through all of this in separate videos. In fact, if you come and join my Discord, I'm going to be giving Discord members, special ones at least, that leave a comment on this video, early access to a whole bunch of videos that are going to be going live over the next few days. This is where I will also start posting any of my creations or creations I'm going to be playing on stream, so you guys can try them alongside me, or maybe even help me. So that pretty much is the Playgrounds mode. When I first thought about them adding something like this, when we saw the teaser, I really did just assume it'd be a case of being able to spawn in, sure, items, but that would be pretty much it. We'd be able to make maybe some cool parkour maps, maybe some cool arenas to fight in. I didn't expect this kind of logic and connectivity to really make stuff like you see in Fortnite or Minecraft. This opens up the game and gives Grounded the replayability that some people really felt it didn't have. Once you did the story mode and complete everything in the game once, you have to really love the game again to do it more. But now you can enjoy the world of Grounded in so many different ways. Truly, the most revolutionary update Grounded and Obsidian have ever done. It does look like the team are really wanting to look for feedback, hence why it's going to be in the PTB for a good couple of weeks. So make sure you give them ideas and suggestions once you've played around in it. If you see improvements or stuff you want to add, join the Discord and go to the special channel I'm sure they're going to set up for feedback for specifically the Playgrounds mode. A bunch of other creators, some of the best in the Grounded community, have already been playing and got access to this, so absolutely go and check out their channels to see even more. I know See-Through and Paralyzer are probably going to have some great stuff going on. Paralyzer especially with his mini games, and yeah, Mudder Chudders, absolutely I can't wait to see what he does with his bug battles now. So just a few things before I go. You can only save when you're in testing mode. Obviously when you publish this and make it an actual playground for people to download and try, I'm sure they'll be able to save their progress. It does say they're published at Playgrounds at 10, so it does look like there is a limit on how many you can have. When you go to publish your playground, you'll be given the code and then it should appear in the download list. So it means that people can't spam the actual downloads. Doesn't mean you have to delete any of your worlds, just simply have a create shared backup copy. And once you've published your world, you can go ahead and rename it, rename the save, or indeed delete it, especially if you make improvements. So returning to them game settings, you can obviously turn off craft and build, like I said, build integrity and handy nat. There are no naturally spawning bugs in this sandbox mode, so you will have to spawn them in yourself, and you can choose whether or not they ignore you, just like normal. You can also increase how much health enemies have, and this is amazing. So if you want to make it super tough world, you can do, or make it super easy. And then more usual options you've come to see from the other modes: player damage, friendly fire, pet invincibility, all mutations, fully yoked, and whether or not you take full damage. And then in survival, they've increased even more sliders. You can now adjust exactly how much food and water drains when you're adventuring, how quick the daytime will go. So the more you move this to the right hand side, the quicker the day or night will be. For it to 0, that should mean it doesn't actually ever change into night. So I'll do that for this video today. And likewise, thirst and hunger, if you put that to the right hand side, you're going to get hungry more and you're going to get thirsty more. It does look like there are resources that might respawn, so you can go ahead and change how quickly they actually arrive. And then again, usual stuff like stamina drain, equipment durability, whether or not it needs to be repaired, food spoiling, and faction reactivity. Spoilers, there's a lot of things that change with factions, brand new enemy wave types judging by the patch notes, and new rewards for completing the waft emitter. And then backpack items on death, you get the idea, and you can even turn on or off photo mode. And just to reiterate, in the game settings in a normal creative mode, you do now have a lot of them new options. You can change how much health enemies have, how much food and water drains, time of day. So that is all been added just to the regular creative mode as well. So as you can see, some of that stuff, like I said, has made its way into regular creative mode. You've got the different targets here and a different basketball net, as well as the target dummy. Obviously some of these decorations will be gained via survival. And the fireworks launcher is in creative mode, so it must be in survival mode as well. I do hope they add more from the playgrounds mode into the regular, even just for the visuals and customization. It'd be nice to have some of them jump pads as well as the bounce web, even if they do the same thing, just for the visuals. So that's it. Like I said, come and join the Discord. I've got special channels set up as this goes live. I'm going to have my videos ready, some of them early for you, and you will get the chance to test any of my creations first before I make a video, maybe even appear in videos in the future. Until then, well done Obsidian, great job. Can't wait to get into this even more. Bye bye.